Hi, storytellers, and welcome to the Create a Story You Love YouTube channel. Today's topic is focused on inspiring you as a self-published author. Because I got to thinking, this self-publishing author journey involves long-term thinking, and sometimes we need inspiration, encouragement, motivation along the way. So if you need any of those things, I encourage you to listen in today. I just wanted to share a little bit of my own journey. I started writing and self-publishing back in 2013. And so my writing journey, self-publishing journey has evolved over the years. I started by writing a historical romance series and just finished the first two books. The third one is still in that trilogy, is still waiting to be written. But it took me quite a while to write and self-publish those books because the research actually took a long time just to get the historical facts right. And also because it was my first book. That also is, often it'll take a little longer when you write your first book because this is something you're new at, right? So it's okay. That's usually how it works. But after the first two books in that series were finished in 2016, I started writing nonfiction books for writers. And I also, I think I started that 2015 actually. And I was podcasting and interviewing successful self-published authors, which I really enjoyed. It was so fun to chat and get to know all these wonderfully inspiring indie authors from so many different places in the world. And it's just a wonderful thing. The world's gotten smaller with the internet. And so in the meantime, I self-published another historical romance novel, which was kind of a standalone. So I wrote that one also. But it wasn't until 2018 in the fall of 2018, that I had the idea for a contemporary romance series that I wanted to write based on fairy tale retellings. But I wanted to write these books under a pen name. I was thinking at the time that, as I upload the books to Amazon, that the Amazon algorithms will be more favorable to me if I use a pen name instead of writing them under Lorna Faith. And I think that actually helped. At the time, I kind of wanted to separate the historical, which is what I've kind of written with Lorna Faith, and the contemporary romance books, which was under my pen name. So with the first book in the series, I self-published that March 2019, and then wrote another two books in that series, published by the end of that year. I was actually starting to earn my first four-figure months by the end of 2019, which was quite exciting. And so I started to see a little bit of success, and I found that quite encouraging. And it motivated me to keep writing, right? Because then you're starting to think, well, maybe I could make more income off of this and really help my family. And so since then, I have continued to write, and now am consistently earning four figures a month with my pen name books alone. And so, but I have learned along the way, and that's what I want to pass along to you, the parts that I've learned that have been really helpful. So some great tips, if you're looking for some tips to help you to see more success sooner as a self-published author, and specifically fiction author, but write books in a series and in the same genre. Number two, self-publish your books regularly. And number three, learn to understand your readers and to really connect with them. If I had top three tips, I think that those would be the ones. Those have been the most helpful to me. And when I listen to other self-published authors, it seems to be, a recurring theme. Write in the series in the same genre, self-publish regularly, and learn to understand your readers and really connect with them. And so this has been a process for me, but I'm thankful that I'm continuing to learn and to do better. So here is some thoughts on what I've learned through the years as a self-published author for 9 years. Every choice you take affects you over the long term as a self-published author. So, for instance, writing those historical romance series first, those didn't have as much success behind them at the time. And it was my first book, so the writing actually probably wasn't, as great. I think my writing with practice got better, so that by the time I released the pen name books, that my writing craft was better, and that does affect how your book sells. And I also started to understand better how that your book cover is a really big part of selling your book, and your book title. So these things I've kind of learned along the way. But so those are other tips. If you want to see success sooner, those would be some more tips. Your book cover is important, and your book title. And if you're writing a series, which will help you, have more success. But if you're writing in a series that, that you keep the series title, to attract readers, right, to your series. So, because sometimes we can see it's too easy to get into comparison, I think, as an indie author. It's too easy to compare ourselves to other authors who are doing well, and then we look at ourselves and we think, oh, you're hardly making it. Sometimes we see on social media, you can, or listening to a podcast, and you can hear what other self-published authors are doing, and you can see that some people are making, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8,000 a month with their first book, and sometimes, we get into the comparison game when we see those kinds of things. So, some important things to remember, if that's what you're seeing. When a self-published author has published their first book, is number one, they might have had a big launch that month, and that's why they made the money that month. So that could be. Number two, it could be that most of their money was spent on ads, so their success isn't quite as real, if I can say it that way. Because if you say you earned $8,000 a month that month, but you spent, say, $6,500 on ads, well, you actually only really earned $1,500, right? And so, that's what I mean when I say the success isn't quite as real as it might look on the outside, if that's what happened. And number three, it does happen where a self-published author is an overnight success, and that's a wonderful thing. So those are, things to remember if you see a self-published author is, really killing it, and just, it might be one of those three options. But that overnight success isn't what happens for most indie authors. Most of the time, it takes time to find your true voice and also what you truly want to write. And it takes time to find your audience and readers who really love the books you write. So a big tip here is to be patient with yourself. This is something that I really had to learn as a writer. There's a lot of time put into writing and self-publishing your books. It really is a long-term strategy. This, being a writer and a self-published author, this is a journey. And it's long-term. So that's why it's important to celebrate the small wins. Like, celebrate when you finish a chapter, or I finished this novel, or I got it edited, or I uploaded the book onto Amazon. Celebrate each one of those small wins. Remember that you are on your own individual journey as a writer and as a self-published author. So, really celebrate these, little things, steps along the way, like finishing and publishing your book, gaining your first 10 readers, getting your first $100 in book sales. And remember, it can take a few years of writing and self-publishing before you really find your writing voice and understand how to write a series, for example, or to really understand how to really get better at the craft of writing. So this is more of something that just comes with practice, right? And so I want to encourage you to give yourself grace and don't judge yourself for being slower, for writing slower, for self-publishing slower. Because I used to be one of those that would really compare myself to other self-published authors and say, you're writing too slow. You need to start writing faster. I would tell myself those things, but it started to get me into this, negative loop, where I would get down on myself. And that certainly didn't help me to be creative when I would start doing that. So I want to encourage you to just, lay that down, you know, the negative loop, and, telling yourself the bad things that might stop you from writing. Because that's usually what happens, right? It kind of can stop the flow of creativity when you are, having thoughts of self-doubt and worry or fear about your writing. It can spiral into this where it literally stops your creativity. So I want to encourage you just to lay that down and tell yourself it's okay. I am a good writer, and I will finish this book, and I will learn. With each book I write, I will learn how to get better at writing and at self-publishing. And remember to really try to celebrate each step. You are getting close to the picture or the vision you see of your future as a writer and a self-published author. So tell yourself, I'm exactly where I am meant to be. I'm working hard at learning the writing craft, and I am consistent and committed to writing and finishing this book. The journey of a self-published author is long-term, and it's more fun if you focus on your accomplishments and each step along the way, because it really does help you to feel more grateful. So wherever you are in the journey as a writer right now, tell yourself you are doing well. You are writing, and you are committed to continue to learn writing, editing, self-publishing, marketing, and to be consistent and committed as a writer. And I'm cheering you on. I really am, because I've been there, and I know how hard this can be sometimes. So you can do this. Really, truly enjoy the writing process today. Happy writing. If this video is helpful to you, hit the like button and subscribe, and leave a comment below this video. I would really like to hear from you. I have some thoughts on upcoming videos, but I would love to hear from you as to what you're struggling with, what you would like to learn. Maybe it's more about fiction writing and the craft of writing, or maybe you'd like to learn more about productivity. But if you would comment down below this video, that would really be helpful, because then I would have an idea of what you would like to learn. Because I really want to do my best to give you videos that would be really helpful to you. So thank you for listening today, and happy writing.